With me now we have Primarc, who is the Managing Director of Primarc, and we're right now in your sales gallery in Rawang. But perhaps you could begin by sharing with us more about Primarc and your work that you've been doing.
Okay, well, Primarc is a relatively new company that we have formed. It's actually it was formed because of this project, Fields of Gold. But we are not new in the business. We have existing projects previously under our holding companies. The reason for Primarc's existence is because we wanted to move to a new direction. And that direction would be to create unique homes, one of its kind, the first of its kind, and because of its branding purposes, so people can identify if you purchase a property from Primarc, it would be of a unique feature and or it will be distinctive enough. So Primarc's purpose is to sell homes that are unique, and if you are owner of one of our Primarc homes, you would feel that you are part of a unique crowd with a unique home that perhaps you might not see every day. So that is the history of Primarc, and that's where we want to move Primarc to in the future. And our target, we have actually been in development for about 15 years, 15 years, and we have projects in New York as well, and Primarc is cultivation of the stuff that we learn overseas and locally, and how we can bring something new to Malaysia. So that's what Primarc is.
Impressive. So speaking of unique development, one of the first project that you are dealing with now under Primarc is Fields of Gold.
That's right.
And which is the sales gallery that we're at right now. Can you share with us more about this project and how has the response been so far?
Okay, so Fields of Gold is it's a unique project in a sense that it changes the way people live. It changes the way people live. It changes the scenery on where you live, and it changes the environment of your living. So that's what unique makes Fields of Gold unique. I can go into more detail later if you want. But the summary versions of what makes Primarc Fields of Gold unique is that we just want people to live in a more what do you call it, a more environment that promotes wellness, and so in a place where you don't see a lot of cars, and a place where it's safe for children, and in a place that it's where your homes open up into a beautiful park and a beautiful view, rather than having roads in front of your house. So if you live at Fields of Gold, you won't see any cars, you won't see any roads. All you see is just a beautiful four-season park, theme park, and just facilities, and it's completely car-free. So your children or your family members can go to the park without accessing any roads right in front of your home. So that's what makes it unique. In terms of our response so far, it's been pretty good. We have got about 70% sales so far. We're very happy with that progress, and we are launching into phase 2 of our sales, where we are starting to raise the price of the remaining units to reflect the progress in sales. So we are very happy with the response, and we're very happy to be able to find customers who can relate and who know that they want to this kind of new kind of living. It's completely different from anything that people would have seen before.
That's right. In terms of your customers, are they already residing in Rawang, or they are from neighboring townships? Well,
surprisingly, most of our customers actually are not from Rawang itself. We do have customers from Rawang, sure. Most of our customers actually are from surrounding, we would say Petaling Jaya, mostly Damansara, even USJ and Subang. So mostly from these areas. And what most of them, what they are where they're from, are people who are moving out of their parents' home, perhaps, professionals who are looking for perhaps a place for setting up a new life. Maybe they're newlyweds, or even retirees. So our project caters for all classes of people, all kinds of people. There's always something for everyone there. And we don't target a specific age group or a specific class of people. It's more of the kind of people who are looking for a certain kind of environment to live. So the kind of people we are looking for, I don't know if I'm just overstepping your question here, but the kind of people we're looking for is perhaps like a new couple who are newlywed, and they're looking for somewhere where they can call home, truly call home, and where they can bring their kids up. And the children who live in this beautiful environment will always remember this place when they grow up. So if they go overseas, For example, when their children is perhaps working in Hong Kong in the future, when they've graduated, they will always remember that beautiful childhood and that beautiful place that they grew up in. That is fields of gold. Whereas if I was living in a crowded urban city nowadays, we're living in a terrace house or semi-D homes, in an urban city, it's just one of the many. So if I'm going overseas, I won't have this memory of childhood to relate to, which is why may I just put an example, like in America, you have people working in a city and they will always go on about the apple pie in Texas where their mom used to cook to, and can't wait to go home in the summer to visit their parents in the ranch, or to jump in the pool, in the lake holding that swing rope. And we don't have this kind of experience if we are living in the kind of environment we are living right now, and we want to create that kind of environment in Fields of Gold.
So do you think it's a trend these days to have developments nestled around lush greeneries?
I think that developers are trying to differentiate their products even more, because the market is, people in the market are demanding perhaps better quality homes nowadays. And one of the ways you can differentiate yourself is to develop around a greenery, like you said. It is one of the ways. Would it be a trend? Sure, one of the trends, one of the ways to differentiate. I believe it's a good thing. I believe it's a good thing. I think we should encourage more green projects and promote more green living. However, just to clarify that Fields of Gold isn't just about having a park or having a green. What makes us truly unique, if I may go there, is that the way our home interacts and relates to the green, that's the key difference. So if you will have to have a gated and guarded community, and you have a nice park in the corner and a clubhouse, and then our homes are all in the other side, that's one way to go about it. Nothing wrong with that. It's fantastic. We just want to go about it differently, where we don't have a project where you have homes and a park in a side. We integrate the park directly into your home. And what this means is we put the park in the center of the entire development, and then we build homes touching the park directly. So what is important, the differentiation is that when you open the front door, you don't see any cars or roads or your car porch. You open your front door directly into the park. And so your first step out of your home would be into the park. Your first step into the home, you will see a stream, perhaps. Or your first step out of your home, you will see a tree house, and you will see maybe cherry blossom trees. And so that's the uniqueness. So if you allow me to indulge myself for a moment, if you imagine a cottage in the mountains of Switzerland, perhaps, right? Sound of music, and you open your cottage, and immediately you see someone running into a field of lavender flowers, perhaps, right? That's what I'm talking about. Rather than you open your front door and it's a car porch, you see some shoes, you see a road, and then you have to take the car and drive it a short distance, sure, to a clubhouse, or maybe take a car and drive it to a park. It makes a big difference. It's hard to differentiate, but it makes a big difference. One being that it's like living in a villa, cottage, resort, and the other one is still living into as if you're just living in an urban city still. So that's one of the key difference between what my project is. But yes, the trend is going into greenery. Sure, one of the ways. There are many other ways, like condos and stuff, but I won't go into that.
Do you foresee any future trends in the coming years?
Well, like I said, I do foresee that there will be more differentiation in the market. The more developers are moving towards, for example, having sceneries. Lakes is a very popular scenery nowadays. Every project seems to have a lake. Other forms of development differentiation, sure, greenery, the safety. Safety seems to be the trend nowadays, unfortunately. But there is, of course, some pressure in the market for relatively affordable homes. Now, you do have to differentiate adding features and affordability. You have to add some balance into it. So there will be a trend towards, maybe I can say, affordable differences. It's interesting. For us, we want to move towards more unique developments too in the future, like perhaps houses that are like tree houses. You're living in tree houses or igloo-shaped homes.
Wow, in Malaysia?
Yes, cube homes that is very popular in the French in France, the countryside in France. Homes that have movable walls. So we want to move towards that. That's just us. That might not be the trend in Malaysia. The trend in Malaysia, of course, would continue to be. I foresee gated, guarded, safety. That will be a key feature, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a good trend to follow. Sure.
What made you attracted to invest in Rawang?
Oh, well, if you look at the past projects for our companies, the previous 5 projects, we do like to invest in up and coming areas. We try to stay away from areas that are what do you call it, saturated? Yeah. So, well, high land value, prices are high, sure. We look for areas that are up and coming, and how we identify, of course, is just the basic infrastructure, the accessibility, the facilities, the current developers who are already there. And so when we saw Rawang, maybe 10 years ago, the people had a bit of a bad reputation, I don't know. But it's very different today. We have wonderful 4 highways accessing to Rawang, fantastic infrastructure. We got 4 big highways, so if you have a choice. It's only 25 minutes away from Damansara, 25 minutes away. Actually, from KL City Centre, if I was to drive to Rawang after work, rush hour, I actually reach here faster than if I was to go flight to PJ or Subang. Well, that's because we're using the highway. And it's an up and coming town, which means there are already facilities here. They have hospitals, they have private hospitals, they have malls, they have police stations, fire stations, they have parks, they have schools. So it's fantastic. And then what attracted me even to Rawang is the potential of Rawang, meaning the existing development here from other developers. So the developers, they are coming here, all pretty much dedicated, good developers. So it's more of a teamwork where we all bring it up together. And so, you know, in just coming up, there's already 3 international schools coming to Rawang. There's another big shopping mall coming up with a theme park. So there are a lot of things that's going to happen in Rawang. And when I see this kind of potential, just 25 minutes away from Damansara, and you can buy your house at half the price or less or more than if you purchase the house in Damansara. It's a good place. It's a good potential for people, you know. So if I was to ask someone who's staying perhaps in an expensive area, well, you get a place double the size, half the price, just extra 20 minutes drive a day, you know, maybe it's worth it. It depends. So mostly, so there's something for people to think about, you know. And it's a fantastic place. Good schools, good infrastructure, good malls. You have everything here. So when I see this, to me, Rawang, fantastic place. I love it here, which is why we do have other land banks here in Rawang as well. We foresee Rawang to grow very much in a very near future. Actually, it's a good place to come.
I see. So in the near future, your future projects would entail Rawang, or are you looking at other areas?
Well, okay. Well, I do have land here. We do not. We do not necessarily identify our projects based on land destination. Like, would you say, if you ask me, do we have a land bank? I would say yes. So we have a small land bank in Klang, Rawang, Semenye, sure, places like that. But Primarc is a bit different, where we are actually approaching a top-down approach rather than a bottom-up. And bottom-up approach meaning some developers, they like to buy their land first, so they have a lot of land, right? And then they identify what this area can support and what the kind of development can be built for this area. Yeah. So they'll do it accordingly. For us at Primarc, we actually design our homes and project first. Then we look for the land that can accommodate, or the area that can accommodate this project. So we are more design-centric developer. Well, that's because we want to design unique projects. Yeah. So if our next project, we were to come up with a very unique design where it's more, yes, perhaps, where it's more targeted to a certain group of people. So we will ensure that the land and the area is more, perhaps more appropriate for this kind of concept. So so it's a bit different. I know sometimes you ask developers, they will say, yes, we have land here, but we are more design. So we have an idea bank more. Yeah, and then we have concepts, we have ideas, and then we'll identify where the suitable land is for this particular idea. So that's how we want to angle our business model more.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Primus, for
Thank
sharing
you.
with us.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.